Today, we're back with Mark Koulianos. We are so excited to have you back, Mark. Thanks for joining us. For our podcast disclaimer, please visit the episode description. Mark, thanks for being here today. It's so fun to have you in studio.
Kelly, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we ought to sit and do this more
I
often.
agree.
Yeah.
I've been looking forward to it. So
So I want to kick off with first your career. Tell
sure.
us kind of how you ended up where you are, but where'd you start? Tell us the Mark story.
Yeah. So really when I graduated from USF in 1992. And
And you're from here.
I'm from Tarpon Springs, Florida.
Okay.
So fairly close. And there weren't a lot of opportunities yet here in Florida. I mean, there just weren't a lot of things. And so some friends of mine and I decided we were going to go into start our own business. We started an import export business,
Okay.
um,
But what was your degree in?
international studies.
Okay.
Yeah,
From where?
USF.
Okay. Just
Yeah, yeah,
wanted to get
yeah,
that
yeah,
in.
yeah.
Okay. And so import export.
So we
Okay.
started an import export company, and we specialized in like gourmet coffee.
Oh.
So gourmet coffee wasn't a big thing yet back then. Starbucks wasn't east of the Mississippi. And so it was really kind of higher end coffee shops and things like that, but it wasn't like what it is today.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that for a while, and then I met my wife and my first wife, and I needed to get married. I needed benefits and things like that, right? And so I decided that I was going to one go back to school and get a degree in
Such
accounting.
a romantic.
I
I needed
needed
benefits.
benefits,
See you at the end of the aisle. I need
yeah, yeah,
benefits.
yeah. I mean, like when you're an entrepreneur, it's great, but
I
sometimes you're making money and sometimes you're not.
right.
So,
Okay.
so kind of sold out my shares of that and decided to go to work and go back to school and get a degree in accounting, another bachelor's degree.
Oh, okay.
And so I went to work for Citibank. I worked in their international trade department for a couple of
And
years.
you got your second BA
I did
or
BS
BS
in accounting.
here
Yep.
at USF. Okay.
Actually, it was a small private school.
Okay.
Yeah. Because back then, there weren't a lot of programs for you to take while you were working.
Mm,
To do an undergraduate degree, you mainly had to go to school
go to
in the daytime.
campus.
So I
Mm-hmm.
had to find, and online wasn't really a thing then. So I had to find a place where I could go to school at night and on the weekends. And so I
Okay.
went to this small little private school, and they no longer exist. But
And that was finance. So we said
accounting,
accounting. Okay.
accounting, yep. So I worked at Citi, and then once I got my degree, or towards the end of my finishing, I got a job with Time Life, Time Customer Service.
Oh,
It was called. They were the magazine fulfillment division of Time Life magazines, and they were headquartered here in Tampa.
yeah, like at Dale Mabry and Kennedy
Dale
or
Mabry
something,
and
right?
Kennedy.
I
Yep, that was
remember
it.
that. I
Yeah.
recruited from there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was a great, great company and really kind of set me on my path. I had some really great people that I worked for there that kind of mentored me and really brought me along. And so I got a job as a financial clerk and then moved up into a financial analyst role. But my job was to support their IT function.
Okay.
So it was really an exciting time to be
Mm.
around IT because Y2K was approaching. And so offshoring was first starting, and we had all of these people that we
The
brought
world
in.
was coming to an
Yeah, the
end.
world was coming to an end, but they used mainly mainframe computers. At the time, I didn't know the difference between a mainframe and client server type thing. So I really got to learn
Mm,
all about IT and how IT functioned in that role. And then, I really liked it there, but it was a drive. It was a drive from Tarpon
mm,
Springs, and I happened to see, this is back in the old days, I'd had to see a similar, almost the same type job, paying more money,
mm.
and in Dunedin, which was about 10 minutes from where I lived, and that was with the Nielsen Company. So I started there at the Nielsen Company doing basically the same job, supporting their IT function and their HR function, other things. in finance. And then I kind of stayed at Nielsen for the next 14 years, worked my way up, got my first management job. I managed a custom reporting and custom software team. And then I just kept moving up, took lateral moves, and then moved up, made it all the way up to director of global operations,
Mm.
had teams in every time zone in the world, got to travel the world. And then private equity bought us out, and
Life changed.
life changed.
Yeah.
So at all that time, I had always wanted, I had worked as a student assistant at USF when I first graduated. I forgot to mention that. And I had always wanted to get back to the university. I just
Huh.
didn't know how. How
What
was I going
was
to get?
it that you wanted? What was it
I,
about the atmosphere that you wanted to
I
get
w-
back to
I
it
just
for?
liked the freedom of thought. I liked
Mm.
working with really intelligent people. I liked and I worked with some really, really intelligent people at Nielsen. I'm not saying that. Really, really smart people. But I just missed that open kind of dialogue that you could have at the university. And I just missed that part of it.
Mhm.
But at some point I had gotten to a pay level where I couldn't justify taking a pay cut to come
Mhm.
to the university. Well, things intervened, and a couple different things happened in my life, but all of a sudden I was looking for another job. So I started a consultant company thinking I could do what I did at Nielsen,
Mhm.
which was really towards the end of my career. It was really twofold. It was taking underperforming business units and fixing them, and or as we bought different companies, kind of integrating them into the Nielsen model all
Mhm.
around the world. So I'm like, I was pretty good at this. Maybe I could do this as a consultant. So I did that for about a year, and I was so engaged with my clients that where I failed was I wasn't always looking for where the next
Right.
job was going to be.
Yeah.
And so it was hard to make it. And so I started looking for something else. And I was working with a headhunter, and he was actually sending me to another job interview. And he said, "Hey, I got something I think might be better for you." And I never told him about wanting to come back to USF. And he said, "Would you ever be interested in working at University of South Florida?" I'm like, "Would I? Yeah, yeah, yes." So they were looking for someone that wasn't an academic. They wanted someone with business experience to be part of Innovative Education's finance team.
Mhm.
And so I went through the interview, and it was actually the toughest interview I ever had in my life.
Yeah, what was tough about it?
They actually made me they gave me a project to work on, and I had to produce a financial model based on very little information,
Hmm.
and then I had to turn it into them, and then they interviewed me. How did you do this? How did you come up with this calculation? Why did you use this formula?
Mhm.
And so anyway, I never had that before really in
Yeah.
a job interview. Um, and so then I got the job. I did that for about a year. And then at that time, they knew my background, and they asked me, they were thinking about getting rid of the continuing education unit. It had been losing money for years. It was about a $600,000 business. There were some personnel things that were going on. And they asked me, they said, "Mark, we want you to write up the justification. We want you to go in as a consultant, write up the justification as to why we should shut this unit down." So Mark being Mark, I did the exact opposite. I mean, I did go in like a consultant, but I said, I think this is going to be the future of higher education. And if you change these 15 things, I think not only could it be a really good, viable business for USF, but it will help you extend out into the community in
Mhm.
ways that you guys have never really thought about extending out into the community. And I think non-credit, skills-based reskilling and upskilling type things, that's going to be the future.
Mhm.
And so luckily at that time, I had a new boss, Cindy DeLuca. She read it. I turned it in, and I thought, okay, I just went about my work. About a month later, she came back and said, "Mark, I ran something like this at NC State. I think you're 100% spot on. How'd you like a chance to run this organization?" I said, "Oh, yeah, I'd love it." because I didn't really want to go back into finance. I knew that I liked managing people
Mhm.
and running the business. I mean,
Yeah.
I like
Not just
finance,
one
but
segment, the
right.
whole thing,
So
yeah.
so that was it. And so that's been now almost 11 and a half years or 10 and a half
Mhm.
years now.
And that role has grown.
It's grown. It started out just with continuing ed, which is now called corporate training and professional education. And then I've added 4 other units, a youth experiences unit, which is really our our solution for long-term workforce goals. And, we could talk about that a little bit later. Um, our testing center, which again does a lot of testing. If you're going to be a teacher and you need to be certified before that, you come and take your certification test. The Office of Micro Credentials, which is how we support other parts of the university to be able to do non-credit programming and issuing digital badges instead of paper certificates
Mhm.
for all our non-credit programming. And then the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute, which is really for people that are 50 and older, and usually more they've retired and now are looking for leisure activities, but things also to kind of just keep their mind fresh.
Yeah.
So
Great. Thanks for that. That's, shows that whole transition, and it's not a straight line.
it's definitely not a straight line. It's definitely not a
But you
straight
did
line.
put out in the universe you wanted to come back to the university at some point, and
Yeah, I
there it
mean,
was, right?
I'm kind of a religious person, so I had prayed about it actually
Mhm.
quite a bit. I didn't know how it was going to happen. So, if you heard those things like, God works in mysterious
Right.
ways, and
I
or
completely agree.
it just the thing, it didn't maybe happen the way I wanted it to
Mhm.
happen, but the stars
Darn,
kind of
it's
aligned.
supposed to be your plan,
Yeah,
right? Not
yeah,
his, right?
yeah.
Isn't it what
So,
they say there?
yeah,
So tell me about something that is a transferable skill that you took from import export
yeah,
to Time Warner
yeah.
or Time Life. I
Time
mean,
Life.
Time
It
Life,
was the
excuse me.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, same company.
Um, to Nielsen to now.
I don't think that it was necessarily. I say it actually went back to my first degree in international studies.
Okay.
So what we were really taught were in that degree, one of the major pillars was to be able to see other people's point of view.
Okay.
So not just be blinded by your worldview, but put yourself in the shoes of someone else and be able to see their thing.
Mm,
And that and really be able to critically think about things in different ways.
yeah.
So those 2 things were kind of the pillars of my first degree. And where accounting's like the language of business. That certainly helped me to
Mm-hmm.
have the language of business in all my roles. But that role enabled me to just really look at things differently and from all different perspectives, and that helped serve me in my entire career. That and the other transferable skill that really kind of set me apart from other financial analysts in my role was the ability to communicate. So, and communicate at a high level in both written and verbal. And so I probably wasn't the best number cruncher. I was pretty good at that,
Mm,
but there were probably people that were much better than me at that, but they weren't able to go meet with the CIO or the CFO and
mm-hmm.
articulate and certain things. All that is really because of my first degree, my education that I got here at USF, and that's what it was the one thing that always set me apart throughout my career.
Hmm. So really building those relationships because you were honoring their perspective of whoever it is you were engaging.
Well, yeah, I think relationship building is one of those lost arts now.
Mm-hmm.
It's I think it's becoming more and more of a lost art. But it was something that set me apart. The
Mm-hmm.
fact that I could not just talk finance, I could talk other things. I really tried to get to know the people that I was working with and working for and supporting,
Mm-hmm.
and understanding that if I could figure out how to help them solve problems,
Mm-hmm.
that I would be valuable
Mm-hmm.
to them.
Our conversation continues with Mark Koulianos. Be sure to subscribe to What the Heck is Happening in HR. We're on all your podcast platforms.